In your research, you also write the 12-month outlook for Bitcoin is one of the most bullish you've seen.
Bitcoin is setting up for an incredibly bullish next 12 months. But before we get here, first let's talk about here. Before we get to the long term, we need to survive the short term. And Bitcoin is dropping hard. How low can Bitcoin go? Comment, how low do you think Bitcoin can go? Because Bitcoin dipped below $60,000. This scared a lot of investors. This scared a lot of Bitcoin holders. And I'll just give you my thoughts here. I'll be real with you. I am fully prepared, and I think it's very possible that Bitcoin hits $54,000 again. This would put us in the bottom of this range that we've been trading at for 6 months. We've hit this bottom range 1, 2, 3, 4 big times so far over the last 6 months. So if we hit this area again, it would not surprise me. It would be par for the course, a buying opportunity. And anytime we see blood in the streets like this, because it's happened a lot throughout Bitcoin's history, anytime we see blood on the streets like this, try to orient yourself and think about it like Bitwise's senior investment strategist thinks about it. A buying opportunity. Listen to this. He's buying. Bitwise is buying. Bitwise is telling their clients, buy.
You put out a note a couple of weeks ago arguing that history suggests to buy Bitcoin when there is blood on the streets.
I decided to look at every instance during the past 10 years when the S&P 500 dropped by 2% or more in a day, and then I compared it to the performance of both Bitcoin and gold over the following year. And what I found was that on average, gold returned 8% over those next 12 months, while Bitcoin returned 190%. So my takeaway for investors is that history tells you that the next time the stock market sells off, you're better off buying Bitcoin as a long-term portfolio hedge instead of gold.
And guess what? We could go lower than this. It's very possible we go lower. And if we go lower, to me, that would be a major buying opportunity. And I wouldn't think we'd stay there for long because eventually, in my opinion, we never touch this area again. And that's happened a lot throughout Bitcoin's history. If you're a believer, like me, I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm a believer in this asset class. And there's a lot of reason to think that in the next 12 months specifically, things are going to get insanely bullish. You realize this, right? If you don't, here Bitwise's senior investment strategist takes us through every single reason he expects Bitcoin's price to rise, and he actually gives a price prediction at the end. Most people will ignore this. You don't. Listen to everything he says here.
Gold is a mature asset. As a result of that, doesn't have that much long-term appreciation, whereas Bitcoin is still a nascent asset in its early adoption phase of institutional and global wider consumer adoption. And so it has strong store of value properties, limited supply, and decreasing new issuance of Bitcoin. And so over the long term, it should perform as a great store of value. And I think that coupled with its growth properties, because it's an early adopted asset that is growing in acceptance around the world, I think those two characteristics are really powerful and make it a great long-term store of value for your wealth.
So obviously Bitcoin's going to go up in the future. I think we're all believers with this. Many people have been asking me though about altcoins. Guys, we are approaching one of the biggest altcoin cycles that you will ever see. Even analyst Ben Cowan admitted this to me in our interview the other day. If you haven't watched our interview with Ben Cowan yet, it's really good. Watch it. I'm going to play you just a clip. Here Ben and I talk about what to expect with altcoins going forward.
I think we're getting to the final part of where Bitcoin outperforms. And I think next year you'll actually see altcoins outperform Bitcoin.
Wow. So it sounds like you're saying sometime in the next maybe 4 to 6 months is the best time ever to buy altcoins.
Well, in a more trying to think about how to say it. In a more risk averse way to say it, I guess. Normally what happens with it, look, I think that, and I've said this before, right? I think that ETH Bitcoin is sort of the harbinger for the altcoin market, right? It tells you how healthy the altcoin market is, how healthy or unhealthy it is. And what I'm looking at right now as it relates to Ethereum. Because I mean, there's no doubt about it that Ethereum has really underperformed Bitcoin for the last, 2.5 years. But what I want to draw your attention to, and I think it's important to understand the altcoin market by looking at this metric. ETH has gone through this same pattern with Bitcoin 2 times before, where it sets a low, and after setting that low, it bounces to a double top and then comes back down and eventually breaks below that low. And you can see that it broke below it in November 2016, and then it broke below it in July of 2019. And then ETH Bitcoin then bottomed out within 1 to 2 months, right? So in 2016, it bottomed out 1 month later. In 2019, it bottomed out 2 months later.
And, altcoins really rallying hard. That makes sense to me. I mean, in 2025, after Bitcoin clearly breaks over its all-time highs, Arthur Hayes from BitMEX said recently that he thinks only after Bitcoin clears 70K and Ethereum reclaims 4K, we're going to see a massive alt season. And, I think we see that almost every cycle where Bitcoin breaks all-time highs. People who have been in the market for a while feel this wealth effect where it's like, well, I'm not getting the returns that I used to be getting with the higher caps. I'm going to put some of that money into lower caps. Plus, new people coming into the market are thinking, oh, I missed out on Bitcoin or Ethereum. I need to put it in the more degen plays. And you just get this massive alt cycle.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's honestly, it's pretty clear, right? I mean, your two last alt seasons were in the post-halving year, right? This is the Bitcoin dominance yearly candles, right? So if you're wanting alt season, you want to see Bitcoin dominance go down, right? The last time you had a big yearly candle where dominance went down was the post-halving year of 2021. The time before that was the post-halving year of 2017. So look, three green, 3 year. Basically, what happens is that you're right. I mean, you basically said it. I don't really think I could say it any better. Essentially, what happens is that people that were riding the Bitcoin train during tighter and tighter monetary policy, they know what's up with the crypto markets. But then when you get to the post-halving year and you get to looser monetary policy and all that good stuff, altcoins outperform. So then you get a lot of new retail investors that come into the market, right? You get a lot of new retail investors, and then those investors only ever see Bitcoin dominance go down. 2017 and 2021. So then when you get out to, 2026 and 2027, those people are likely going to think that Bitcoin dominance will keep going down, but in reality, you're likely just going to see the same thing repeat.
Now is the time to get serious about your crypto awareness and crypto education. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel. We drop one video every day, keeping you informed, giving you an edge in the cryptocurrency market. So if you're interested in making money, make sure you subscribe. This is a continuing story, guys. So much has happened this year. So much is going to happen in the next 6 months and the next 12 months, 2025. You can always engage with us more personally at Roundtable, the Roundtable app. We're posting in there regularly and chatting with you. Many people are posting on this app, so feel free to download it. It's free and start chatting with us. I'm incredibly excited about the future of this space. See you tomorrow, my friends.